Hey, baby boomers and empty nesters, if you're thinking about buying a home before you sell your current one, and you're kind of just worried about this this environment that we're currently in, you're gonna want to keep watching this video. Right now, we're in this challenging times where we've got very low inventory. It's making buying a home difficult because you don't want to sell your home and then be left homeless in essence, right? Sell your home there, but yet you can't find something on the other end. That's what we're seeing, right? We want to try to avoid that problem. The problem being you've got this house, you sell your house, you've got top dollar for the house because we're at this all-time equity high, but then you get nowhere to live. But there's ways around that. So how do you buy a home first before you sell your current home? And there's 4 ways that we're advising our clients to do this, or at least 4 strategies that they can consider to buy a home first before they sell their current ones. Let's go through those one at a time. Number 1, you can use a dual negotiation strategy. What do I mean by that? Dual negotiation strategy is basically simply as it sounds. That's basically negotiating the purchase of your new home while you're also negotiating for the sale of your current home. Trying to time those two is a little bit difficult, but that's what we're doing today. We're really taking the time to just work through the timeline and make sure that it works for our clients when they sell, that they can move in almost seamlessly to their new home. One of the ways that we've been doing that, to kind of drill down a little further, is we'll make the home sale contingent. So here's what I mean by that. So now we'll put a home for sale on the market, contingent. The seller's putting this right in the purchase agreement. We put it right out there to the buyers. The sale of the home is contingent on the home seller finding a new home that's to their liking. And this is a little bit of a reverse typically, which we'll get to that strategy in a second. This is typically reverse on a typical strategy. So now the seller's more in the driver's seat, right? And if you want to try to buy that home and really try to time it, we're doing that in a dual negotiation strategy. We're saying, okay, it's contingent on the sale of your current home while we try to time this. And that way we can start negotiating for not only the purchase of the new home, but also the sale of the current home. So strategy number 1, dual negotiation strategy. Number 2, and the second strategy for negotiating and buying a home before you sell your current one is contingent. And this is one we're doing a lot of. When the market was blistering hot in basically 21 and 22, it was very difficult to do a contingent, right? So we would put an offer in contingent on the sale of the client's home, on the client's current home. That really was challenging because the buyer, basically we were such in a frenzy that the sellers were saying, I don't want to take a contingent sale. Well, now times have changed a little bit. It's calmed down a bit. And now we're doing a lot of that. So we're putting offers in, really working on basically putting a contingent offer in. And how that works basically is we'll put an offer on the home, on the new home that the buyer wants to buy, contingent on the sale of the current home. And once it sells, we can negotiate. We can close on the sale of the new home. But here's why it works for the seller. The seller will, let's say the seller accepts this contingent offer. The seller can keep marketing the home. And let's say they get another buyer. They can actually come to the buyer that's got it under contract and say, okay, we've got another buyer for the property. You have 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours, depending on what we negotiate. You have 72 hours or 48 hours to basically say yes or no that you're gonna close on this new home without the sale of your current home. And if that's the case, the buyer then makes a decision, but at least the buyer is in control. The buyer can say, well, geez, my current home hasn't sold yet, but I've got the means, I've got the ability, and I've got the strategy to close on this new one. Or the seller, the contract can just go, meaning the buyer, it's just contingent. As soon as the buyer sells their home, they're able to buy the current one. So we're doing a lot of that contingent offer. And that's strategy number 2 is that contingent offer. That was one of the most successful strategies that we are doing in today's environment, because it really is it's a matter about controlling the timeline. And we can do that with the contingent offer. The third way, so we had number 1 was the dual negotiation strategy. Number 2 was the contingent offer strategy. And number 3 is the bridge loan. So these in the past maybe had a little bit, kind of a sketchy reputation, right? Geez, I don't want to get a bridge loan. I don't want to be stuck with 2 mortgages. Well, there's ways that you can actually get that loan and have it make some sense, especially today when we're equity in our homes at an all-time high. So what you can do here at this point is if you have a lot of equity in your home, and you probably do, you can use basically a bridge loan to, just what it sounds, to bridge the gap, right? To go over where you can buy your new home while you're currently trying to sell your home, and you're paying on 1 mortgage, so you're not paying 2 mortgages. That is the advantage of that. And again, get with the right lender to make this right for you. We have several mortgage partners we work with. but we've got a couple in particular that we highly recommend that can do this strategy, right? That bridge loan. So it kind of just bridges you over. And then meanwhile, you bought your new home, you moved into it, and now you basically have your current home to sell. As soon as you sell, you pay it off, and then you roll that basically into the mortgage products you want, be it a 30-year mortgage. So again, for more details on that, get with a good mortgage partner to make that strategy happen. So strategy number 3 is bridge loans. So number 1, we had dual negotiation strategy. Number 2 is a contingent offer strategy. Number 3 is a bridge loan. And the last way to do it is really a lease back. So what we've done here is that the client will actually sell their home first, but then negotiate the ability to stay in that current home for up to maybe 60, 90 days or even longer while they find their current one. And this is making a lot of sense for both buyer and seller, because in this low inventory environment, buyers are looking for homes. They can't find a home. Then basically what they will do is, they're willing to buy a home and wait maybe 60, 90, 120, 180 days to make that happen. So we did this recently where client bought a home, and actually, we had a client that was selling a home, and the buyer came in and negotiated a strategy where they basically said, listen, the seller needed some time to find a home. And I said to them, listen, we can't sell this home. My client can't sell this home unless they have a spot to go. So what did we do? We sold the home. The buyer bought the home. There was a closing. And basically my seller leased back their former home. At this point was their current home, now their former home. My seller leased back that home for 180 days. This gave them time to really put a plan into place and execute that plan. And they were able to not only find a current home, they actually found a second home as well, a condo in Florida. So that kind of strategy works. So it's that lease back strategy where you're buying yourself some time where you can manage the timeline. That's really what all 4 of these strategies are about, is managing the timeline. Again, that 4th strategy is lease back. So to summarize, these are 4 strategies where you can buy a home before you sell your current one. And again, these 4 strategies are the dual negotiation strategy. It's number 1. Number 2 is the contingent offer strategy. Number 3 is the bridge loan, and number 4 is the lease back. So again, some things to think about and some things to use in this low inventory kind of tight market. Some things that you can really think about to buy your current home or buy your new home before you sell your current one.